Lauren Spierer was a young woman full of life and plans for her future. She was a student at Indiana University studying textiles merchandising. She came from Scarsdale, New York. Lauren was known for her bright personality and her close group of friends. She had a boyfriend named Jesse Wolfe. They met at a summer camp. Lauren was also active in her Jewish community and even went to Israel to plant trees. She was just 20 years old when her life took an unknown turn. Her disappearance left a deep wound in her family and her community, a wound that has not healed with time. The questions about what happened to her continue to echo loudly. On the night of June 2, 2011, Lauren decided to go out with some friends in Bloomington, Indiana. It was supposed to be a normal night for a college student. The evening started like many others, with plans to visit friends and perhaps a local bar. She left her own apartment building, Smallwood Plaza, around 12:30 in the morning on June 3rd. She was with a friend named David Rohn. They first went to another friend's apartment, Jay Rosenbaum. It was there she met Corey Rossman. These names would become very important in the story of her last known hours. The night was young, and no one could have predicted the darkness that was about to fall. As the early hours of June 3rd moved forward, Lauren and Corey Rossman made their way to Kilroy's Sports Bar. Security cameras showed them entering the bar at 1:46 a.m. This place was a popular spot for students. What happened inside the bar is not entirely clear, but we know that Lauren left Kilroy's with Rossman at 2:27 a.m. She left without her shoes. She also left her cell phone behind. These small details would later become big questions for investigators. Why would she leave without these essential items? Was she okay at this point in the night? These are questions that still trouble everyone involved. The comfortable world of a college town was shattered by Lauren's disappearance. Bloomington, Indiana is home to a large university. It is usually a safe place for students. But when Lauren did not return home, fear started to grow. Her friends and family became very worried. Soon, the news spread. A young woman was missing. After leaving Kilroy's Sports Bar, Lauren Spierer and Corey Rossman headed towards her apartment complex, Smallwood Plaza. They arrived there around 2:30 a.m. Someone saw them at this time. This person said Lauren seemed very drunk. She was having trouble walking. Rossman was with her. This observation is important. It tells us about Lauren's condition in the critical hours before she vanished. Her high level of intoxication would become a central point of concern for her family and for the police, who were trying to piece together the events of that confusing and troubling night. The journey back to her own apartment was not the end of her night. The timeline becomes more fragmented after this point. Instead of going into her own apartment, Lauren and Rossman reportedly went to Rossman's apartment, which was also in Smallwood Plaza. There was an incident there. Rossman got into a fight with another student. Rossman was punched and said he could not remember things well after that. This adds another layer of confusion to the night. Lauren then left Rossman's apartment. She was next seen heading towards Jay Rosenbaum's apartment building again. It was now later into the early morning and she was still barefoot and without her phone, which was a cause for great alarm. Security cameras captured some of Lauren's movements after she left Smallwood Plaza for the second time. At 2:48 a.m., footage showed her entering an alley. This alley ran between College Avenue and Morton Street. She was alone at this point. What happened in that alley is unknown. Just a few minutes later, at 2:51 a.m., cameras recorded her again. This time, she was seen exiting the alley. She then walked towards an empty parking lot. This is the last confirmed sighting of Lauren Spierer. After she walked towards that lot, she simply vanished into the pre-dawn darkness. No one has reported seeing her since that moment. The final minutes of Lauren's known movements are chilling because they are so ordinary. She was walking through familiar streets in her college town, but something terrible happened. She was vulnerable. She was alone, without her phone, and without her shoes. The area where she was last seen was near several businesses and apartments. Yet, no one has come forward with information that explains what happened next. Did she meet someone? Did she try to walk home a different way? These unanswered questions have fueled years of speculation. The search for Lauren Spierer began almost immediately after she was reported missing. The Bloomington Police Department took the lead in the investigation. They were soon joined by the Indiana University Police and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This showed how serious the situation was. Many officers and volunteers helped in the search. They looked in buildings, parks, and wooded areas around Bloomington. They hoped to find any sign of Lauren. They wanted to find her safe. But as days turned into weeks, the hope of finding her alive began to fade slowly for many, though her family never gave up. Investigators received thousands of tips from the public. By May 2013, more than 3,000 tips had come in. Each tip had to be checked. This was a huge amount of work for the police. They interviewed many people who knew Lauren. They also interviewed people who were out in Bloomington on the night she disappeared. They looked at many hours of security camera footage from businesses and buildings. They tried to create a complete picture of Lauren's last known movements. They hoped a small detail in a tip or a video might give them the clue they needed. The police department has said the case remains active, not a cold case, even years later. One major physical search effort took place in August 2011. Investigators spent 9 days searching the Sycamore Ridge landfill. This was a difficult and unpleasant task. They hoped to find any evidence related to Lauren's disappearance. Sadly, the search of the landfill did not provide any answers. Nothing connected to Lauren was found there. This was a big disappointment for everyone involved in the search. It meant that another possible lead had gone cold. The search efforts were wide and covered many different areas, but Lauren seemed to have vanished without a trace, leaving nothing behind for them to find. Over the years, other cases sometimes brought brief, false hope of a connection. In April 2015, another Indiana University student, Hannah Wilson, was tragically murdered. Investigators looked to see if there was any link between Hannah's death and Lauren's disappearance. This is a normal procedure in such cases. However, the authorities quickly determined that the two cases were not connected. This news, while clarifying, did little to ease the Spierer family's pain or solve the mystery. Each potential lead that did not pan out added to the frustration and the deep sense of loss that surrounded this unsolved case. Many theories have emerged over the years about what happened to Lauren Spierer. Her parents, Charlene and Robert Spierer, have always believed that she might have been drugged at the bar. They point to how intoxicated she seemed, even for someone who had been drinking. They also raised concerns about the people Lauren was with that night. They felt that the accounts given by Corey Rossman and Jay Rosenbaum had inconsistencies. The fact that these individuals reportedly refused to take police-administered polygraph tests also worried the Spierer family greatly. These concerns have never fully gone away for them, fueling their own search for truth. Another theory considered by some is that Lauren may have suffered an accidental overdose. Reports suggested she might have consumed alcohol. There were also rumors of cocaine and Klonopin use that night. Lauren had a pre-existing heart condition called long QT syndrome. This condition could make her more vulnerable to the effects of certain substances. If she did have an overdose, it is possible that those with her might have panicked. They might have hidden what happened to avoid getting into trouble with the law. This is a painful theory for her family to consider, but it is one of the possibilities that investigators have had to explore. The Spierer family has never stopped fighting for answers. They filed civil lawsuits against Corey Rossman, Jay Rosenbaum, and another person. They alleged negligence. They said these individuals provided alcohol to Lauren, who was underage for alcohol purchase, and failed to make sure she was safe. The main goal of these lawsuits was to try and force these individuals to share more information about what happened. In 2013, a judge dismissed the part of the suit against one individual. The judge ruled that person had no legal duty to care for Lauren. These legal efforts show the family's determination to find out the truth, using every avenue available to them. More than a decade has passed since Lauren Spierer disappeared on that June night in 2011. Today, in 2025, her case remains unsolved. The pain for her family is constant. Her mother, Charlene, has often said, "The incessant state of not knowing is exhausting." They maintain a Facebook page to share updates and keep Lauren's memory alive. They hope that someone, somewhere, knows something and will finally come forward. The mystery of Lauren Spierer is a sad reminder of how a young life can be lost, and how the search for answers can become a heavy burden for those left behind. The hope for closure, however distant, never truly dies.